In a cozy room, warmed by the gentle glow of a crackling fire, Thaddeus sat comfortably in a well-worn wooden chair, its armrests smoothed by years of heartfelt discussions and storytelling. The flickering flames cast dancing shadows across the walls, creating an atmosphere rich with anticipation and camaraderie. He looked around at the eager faces of his listeners, each one reflecting a mixture of curiosity and wisdom. The fire's light twinkled in his silver beard, adding to the aura of timelessness that surrounded him.
Gather close, my friends. Tonight, I wish to impart upon you a truth that is essential for navigating the intricate journey of life. We must be grateful for what we have and never take anything for granted. In our hurried lives, it's all too easy to overlook the simple blessings that surround us, but acknowledging their value can profoundly change our hearts and perceptions.
He paused to allow his words to settle in the stillness of the room, letting the gravity of the message sink in.
Before I weave these tales of gratitude for you, I encourage you to subscribe to this channel. Each story I share carries valuable lessons from the past, and I wouldn't want you to miss the treasures waiting to be uncovered. Together, we will explore the richness of gratitude and the many forms it can take in our lives.
With a gentle nod and a warm smile, Thaddeus settled deeper into his chair, his eyes glistening with the firelight as he began to share stories that would illuminate the importance of gratitude in life. Thaddeus began, his voice rich and steady, echoing the warmth of the fire.
In a quaint village nestled between lush green hills, there lived a traveler named Elon. Known for his adventurous spirit, he wandered from town to town, collecting tales and experiences like others might collect trinkets. However, one fateful day, after weeks of navigating through valleys and scaling mountains, he found himself lost and starving, far from any familiar path. As dusk began to cloak the land in shadows, he stumbled upon a humble cottage. The warm light from the windows beckoned him closer, and with a mix of hope and trepidation, he knocked on the door, yearning for shelter and sustenance. A kind old woman answered the door, her face a map of wrinkles that told stories of her own journeys and hardships. Without a moment's hesitation, she invited him inside, offering him a seat by the fire. As she prepared a simple meal of freshly baked bread and hearty vegetable soup, Elon watched her with a growing sense of gratitude, feeling warmth not just from the fire, but from her genuine kindness. The aroma of the soup filled the air, enveloping him in a comforting embrace. As they sat together, the nourishment filled him not only physically but emotionally, and he felt an unspoken bond forming between them. Once they finished the meal, Elon turned to the woman, his heart swelling with appreciation. "Thank you for your kindness, dear lady. I am merely a stranger in need. Yet you have welcomed me as if I were family." The old woman smiled gently and replied, "Ah, my dear, it is not just about the food we share. It's about the moments we create together, the connections we build. Gratitude makes our hearts full, and kindness, however small, has the power to transform lives." Her words hung in the air like a sweet melody, echoing in Elon's heart. Deeply touched by her words, Elon promised himself that he would carry this lesson with him as he continued his travels. He realized that true wealth was not found in material possessions or titles, but in the relationships we nurture and the gratitude we express. As he prepared to leave the cottage, the old woman handed him a small woven basket filled with fresh bread and vegetables. "Take this with you," she said, her eyes twinkling. "Share it with someone else in need, and remember the warmth of our connection." From that day forward, Elon became known not just as a wanderer, but as a harbinger of gratitude, sharing his appreciation and kindness with everyone he encountered, forever changed by the old woman's selfless generosity. He discovered that the simplest acts of kindness can leave a lasting imprint on both the giver and the receiver. With each passing village, he shared the basket and the story of the old woman, spreading the seeds of kindness far and wide. His travels became not just a quest for adventure, but a journey to uplift others, and in doing so, he found his purpose, a life filled with gratitude and connection.
Thaddeus continued, his eyes glimmering with the flame's reflections.
"Now allow me to tell you about another story from a distant kingdom, where there lived three brothers, Kalin, Yarok, and Oren. Each brother possessed unique talents and aspirations that shaped their lives. Kalin, the eldest, dreamed fervently of wealth and power. Yarok sought knowledge and wisdom, devoting his days to study, while Oren, the youngest, found profound joy in the simple pleasures of life and the beauty of nature. The brothers inherited a small piece of land from their father, and as they grew, they each chose their paths, determined to pursue their dreams in different ways. Kalin poured all his energy into making the land fruitful, hoping to harvest riches that would grant him the status he so desired. He worked tirelessly, often neglecting his brothers and the bonds they once shared in their childhood. Day after day, Kalin toiled in the fields, his hands calloused and his heart hardened, consumed by the desire for wealth. Yarok immersed himself in books, seeking wisdom about the world and its wonders. But in doing so, he sometimes lost sight of the beauty that surrounded him, locked away in his thoughts. He would spend long hours in his room, pages of ancient texts scattered around him like fallen leaves, completely absorbed in his quest for knowledge. Meanwhile, Oren cultivated a small garden, sharing its fruits and flowers with the villagers, finding joy and fulfillment in the simple act of giving. Every day, he would rise with the sun, tending to his plants with love and care. The laughter of children filled the air as they came to pick fruits from his garden, their joy a reflection of the happiness Oren felt in their company. His heart was full, not because he had riches, but because he gave of himself freely, nurturing not just his garden but the connections with his community. Years rolled by, and Kalin ultimately succeeded in transforming their land into a prosperous estate, rich with crops and resources. But despite his wealth, he felt an ever-growing loneliness and unfulfillment, yearning for the laughter and companionship of his brothers. Yarok, though knowledgeable beyond measure, found himself increasingly isolated, engrossed in his books and theories, oblivious to the world passing him by. Oren, on the other hand, was rich in friendships and love, yet he often felt overshadowed by his brother's apparent successes and wealth. He sometimes wondered if he should strive for more, but deep down, he cherished the simple beauty of life. One fateful day, Kalin, now a wealthy landowner, invited his brothers to a grand feast at his estate, eager to show off his achievements. As they gathered around a lavish table, Oren brought a basket overflowing with fresh fruits and vibrant flowers from his garden, a symbol of his hard work and generosity. Kalin, in his pride, dismissed Oren's offering, boasting about the extravagant banquet he had prepared. "What good are flowers when I can provide a feast fit for a king?" he exclaimed, his voice echoing through the hall, laced with arrogance. Yarok remained silent, buried in thoughts about the deeper meanings behind Kalin's ambitions, his eyes flickering between the table and his brothers. But Oren, with a heart full of love, looked at his brothers and gently said, "It's not the wealth that fills our hearts, but the love we share and the gratitude we express for one another. Let us not forget what truly matters in life." His words struck a profound chord within the hearts of his brothers. Kalin, realizing how he had neglected the bonds with his brothers in pursuit of his ambitions, felt a pang of regret wash over him. The realization hit him like a sudden storm. He had built walls around himself in the name of success, only to find himself isolated in a castle of loneliness. Yarok, too, began to understand that knowledge was meant to be shared, not hoarded, and that wisdom lies in recognizing the beauty of human connections. He could see now that he had let his thirst for knowledge blind him to the warmth of family and friendship. From that day forward, the brothers rekindled their relationship, learning from one another and appreciating the unique paths they had taken. Kalin discovered that true wealth was in love and friendship. Yarok learned to express gratitude for the world around him, and Oren found immense joy in sharing his gifts with others. They began to meet regularly, not just to celebrate achievements but to support one another, to express gratitude for the bonds that had once tied them together. Together, they created a legacy built not on material riches, but on gratitude, compassion, and love, forming an unbreakable bond that would weather the storms of life.
Thaddeus's voice resonated in the warm room, drawing everyone closer as he shared another powerful story.
In a bustling city filled with noise, chaos, and the constant rush of life, there lived a young artist named Mira. She was gifted with the ability to paint landscapes so vivid that they seemed to come alive on the canvas. Despite her immense talent, Mira often found herself engulfed by self-doubt and frustration. The art world, she believed, was merciless, and she constantly questioned her own abilities, wondering if she would ever be recognized for her work. Each day, Mira would set up her easel in various corners of the city, hoping to capture the essence of life around her. She painted bustling markets, children laughing in the parks, and the serene beauty of sunsets illuminating the horizon. However, with each stroke of her brush, she felt a gnawing doubt creeping in. Was her art truly worthy? Was anyone even noticing the beauty she was trying to express? Her heart often felt heavy, weighed down by the fear of failure and the anxiety of not living up to her own expectations. One particularly bleak winter's day, burdened by her insecurities and feeling particularly lost, Mira decided to take a long walk through the city to clear her mind. As she strolled, the snow began to fall gently, blanketing the streets and transforming the everyday scene into something magical. The world looked different, softened by the delicate white flakes dancing in the air. Mira admired how the snow transformed the ordinary into the extraordinary, and for a moment, her worries faded away. While wandering through a quaint park, she noticed an elderly man sitting alone on a bench, shivering against the cold. His clothes were tattered and worn, barely keeping the chill at bay. Mira's heart ached for him. Without thinking, she approached him, offering her scarf, knowing all too well the biting sting of winter's cold. The old man looked up, and his eyes, though clouded with age, sparkled with gratitude. "Thank you, dear child," he said, his voice trembling yet warm. "It's a small kindness like yours that makes the world a brighter place." Surprised by the warmth of his words, Mira felt compelled to sit beside him. They began to talk, and the conversation flowed effortlessly. The old man shared stories of his life, revealing the dreams he once had and the challenges he had faced over the years. His tales were filled with lessons of love, loss, and resilience, reminding Mira of her own struggles as an artist. In turn, Mira opened her heart to this kind stranger, sharing her dreams and insecurities, her voice barely above a whisper as she spoke of her art and the relentless self-doubt that plagued her. The old man listened intently, his expression one of deep understanding. As the sun began to set, casting a golden glow over the city, he turned to Mira and said, "You must never underestimate the impact of your kindness. Each small act, like the one you showed me today, ripples through the lives of others. Be grateful for the gift of your art, for it has the power to inspire and heal." His words resonated within Mira, stirring something deep inside her heart. She realized that gratitude and kindness were not just about receiving, but also about giving. Inspired by his wisdom, she left the park with a renewed sense of purpose. Mira returned to her studio, not only determined to paint for herself, but to create art that would touch the hearts of others. Each brushstroke became infused with the kindness she had experienced that day, and soon, her paintings began to reflect not only her emotions, but the beauty of the human experience. As time went on, she started to host art workshops for children in her community, teaching them to express themselves through creativity. Mira watched as these young souls blossomed, finding joy in their self-expression. She learned that the more she shared her gift, the more gratitude she felt in her heart. Her art flourished, and so did her spirit, as she discovered that the greatest fulfillment comes from giving and uplifting those around us. Through her kindness and generosity, she created a ripple effect that spread throughout the community, inspiring others to give back as well. One day, while working with her students, she spotted the elderly man from the park. He had come to the workshop, a proud smile on his face, watching the children paint with joy. Mira's heart swelled with happiness at the sight of him, for she realized that their brief encounter had changed her life in ways she could never have imagined. In that moment, she understood the profound truth in his words. Kindness is a powerful force that can change not only our own lives, but also the lives of others. From that day forward, Mira dedicated herself to living a life filled with gratitude and kindness. She created art not just for herself, but for everyone who needed inspiration and joy. Each painting she completed became a story of hope, love, and the transformative power of human connection. The legacy of that kind stranger became woven into the very fabric of her life, reminding her daily of the importance of compassion and generosity.
Thaddeus paused, allowing the fire to crackle softly before continuing with another tale.
Let me share one final story, one that speaks of loss and the powerful realization of gratitude. There once was a young woman named Lila who received a breathtakingly beautiful ring from her beloved grandmother, a cherished heirloom that symbolized their deep bond and connection. Lila wore the ring every day, proud of its beauty and significance, often showing it off to her friends as a treasure to behold. The ring sparkled in the sunlight, a constant reminder of her grandmother's love. However, one fateful day, amidst the chaos of her busy life, she lost it. Distraught, she searched everywhere, retracing her steps, her heart aching at the thought of losing something so precious. Days turned into weeks, and Lila's sadness only deepened. She realized, in her moments of solitude, that she had taken the ring for granted, not fully appreciating its meaning until it slipped from her grasp. Every night, she lay awake, haunted by the memory of the ring and what it represented. In her despair, she decided to visit her grandmother, seeking solace and comfort in the only place she could think of. As she sat with her grandmother in the warm embrace of their home, she poured out her heart, tears spilling down her cheeks like rain. Her grandmother listened patiently, her wise eyes filled with understanding and compassion. When Lila finished, her grandmother took her hands gently, holding them in her own, and said, "My dear, while that ring is precious, it is not the only symbol of our love. The memories we share, the time we spend together, those are the true treasures that cannot be lost. Be grateful for what you had, and hold dear the moments we create together." Lila felt a shift within her heart, the heaviness of loss transforming into a newfound appreciation for the present. She understood that love and connection were far more valuable than any material possession. From that day on, she committed to cherishing her grandmother and their shared moments, realizing that life's true treasures were not things, but the relationships she nurtured. She began to create memories instead of merely collecting items, understanding that each smile, each shared story, and every laughter held far greater value than any ring ever could. And then, one sunny afternoon, while cleaning her room, Lila stumbled upon the ring tucked away in an old book. Her heart soared with joy, but she felt a wave of gratitude wash over her, knowing that its return was not what mattered most. Instead, she had found something far greater, a profound appreciation for the people in her life and the moments they shared. Each day became a new opportunity to express her gratitude for her grandmother's wisdom and love, shaping the beautiful legacy they would create together.
Thaddeus looked around the room, his gaze resting on each person, his heart swelling with warmth and understanding.
"And so, dear friends,"
he said, his voice steady and inviting,
"the tales I've shared with you tonight carry an important lesson: to be grateful for what you have and never take anything for granted. Whether it is the kindness of a stranger, the bond of family, or the love of friends, these gifts are often overlooked in the hustle and bustle of life. But when we pause to recognize their value, we open our hearts to deeper connections and a more meaningful existence."
He continued, his words gentle but firm.
Remember Elon, who learned the power of kindness through a simple meal. Kalin, Yarak, and Oren, who found the true meaning of wealth in their relationships. Lila, who discovered that love far outweighs material possessions. And Mira, who recognized that her art could touch lives and inspire gratitude. Each story serves as a poignant reminder that gratitude transforms our perspective, enriching our lives in ways we may never have imagined. Life can be fleeting, and we must cherish every moment and every connection. Let us carry these lessons with us as we journey through our lives. Embrace gratitude, share it freely, and remind those around you of the love that exists in the simplest of acts. For in the end, it is not the possessions we accumulate but the love we share and the gratitude we express that will define our lives and leave a lasting impact on the world around us. May we all learn to see the beauty in the ordinary, the magic in the mundane, and the blessings in every breath we take. Each moment we share is a gift, reminder of the love and kindness that connect us all. Together, let us walk this path of gratitude, creating a tapestry of love, understanding, and joy that weaves through our lives, enriching our hearts and the hearts of those we encounter.
As Thaddeus leaned back in his chair, the flickering light of the fire reflecting in his wise eyes, his listeners felt the weight of his words settle deeply in their hearts, inspired to live each day with gratitude, cherishing the gifts of love and connection that life had to offer.